What's up? Nick Hilton here, and welcome back to another bike school video. And in this video, I'm giving you some common mistakes made that are stopping you from airing quarters higher. Now, maybe you're just new to airing quarters, but maybe you've been airing quarters at a similar height for years and you just can't seem to go any higher. Whichever the case may be, you're probably making one of these 4 mistakes, so pay attention. The first mistake is that you are simply not going fast enough. A good test to really judge how fast you're going into a quarter is to actually fly out of the quarter. Like, just jump it like it's a fly out and do an air, and whatever height you get, go at that same speed and then fly out of the quarter. And you'll realize that if you're only airing about 6 inches to a foot out of the quarter, when you go to fly out, you're barely going to be making it out of the quarter. But make sure you go at the same speed, otherwise the test is kind of irrelevant. Irrelevant. So once you've done this test, you'll kind of be able to gauge, like, okay, if I want to fly 2 feet out of the quarter pipe and land on the deck, I have to go that same speed to be able to air the quarter that high out of the coping. So again, mistake number 1 is just simply not going fast enough. Mistake number 2 pairs onto that, and it's that you are not pumping the transition on the way up the quarter. This is super important because even if you go with a decent speed, if you don't pump the quarter, you're just losing speed the whole way up the quarter. It's kind of just like jumping. Like, if you go fast into the jump, but you don't pump, you're going to lose speed the entire way up the lip. So airing a quarter is the same. You need to compress down at the bottom of the quarter and stand up through that transition to accelerate yourself up the ramp. Now, a kind of like a bonus mini mistake is even worse than not pumping is depumping. A lot of people will go into a quarter fast and then do like the opposite of pumping, where they stand and then sit into the face and slow themselves down even more than not pumping. So again, that's a big mistake, is not pumping, which leads us into the third mistake, which kind of bundles the first 2 together, which is you're just not being confident enough. Like, when you're not confident, you're not going to go fast enough. If you go fast and you're still not confident, then you're not going to pump through the transition. And that can get kind of dangerous, because if you're not confident, but you still go faster because you're like, Nick said I got to go faster, and you go faster at the quarter, but you're not confident enough to pump, you're probably going to case the quarter. Like, that's kind of the thing, is with airing quarters, it's like a package deal. Like, you got to go the speed, you got to give the pump everything you got, and you've got to really pop at the top of that ramp so that you don't case. And, that's why the no confidence kind of like bundles up not going fast enough and not pumping, because you kind of play this game in your head that you're afraid to go higher. You want to go higher, but you're not willing to put in the effort that going higher takes. Like, it takes speed and it takes a pump, a good pump. And then mistake number 4 is really overlooked. And I've talked about this before on YouTube videos, and I talk about it in the Bike School members group a lot. I didn't learn how to air quarters correctly until I started riding better quarters. So the 4th mistake that I always see is people trying to get their airs higher and evolve their quarter airing on the wrong quarters. Like, you don't want a short, mellow quarter to learn how to air, because if you go fast, you're just going to go that way. Like, you're just going to air out of the ramp and out onto the deck. Like, you want a quarter that has a good, smooth transition, that's pretty tall, and that goes steep. Because the steeper and taller the quarter is, the less work you have to do. Speed and a good pump at the bottom is going to allow you to relax on a steeper quarter, because you're not going to have to worry about casing as much, because the quarter is naturally going to throw you backwards. You pop too much, you're actually going to land flat. And for me personally, I would rather get that feeling of landing flat and then be able to tone it back than constantly be casing. Because if I go really fast at a quarter and I, say I get like a 4-foot air and I land kind of low, well, then I can go the same speed, do a little less work, go 4 feet out, land good. Well, then I just kind of keep that in mind and I just go faster and faster at the quarter, keep the pump the same. And then I can go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and above out of the quarter. But if the quarter is kind of mellow and smaller, when I hit that 2-foot mark and I almost case, I'm going to eventually hit this point where I can't pump and pop any harder to stop casing. And if I go faster, I'm more often than not just going to case more. So really take this into consideration. If you're in a position where you want to air quarters higher, look at the quarter that you're riding and ask yourself, is this a good quarter? Or do I feel like I have to work really hard to get up into the air and not case? And I know bigger quarters, steeper quarters, they're scarier, but I promise you, they do help improve your quarter airing skills. And if you get comfortable riding a 10-foot quarter, I guarantee you going 4 or 5 feet out of a 10-foot quarter is going to be way, way easier than going 4 or 5 feet out of a 4-foot quarter. So those are my mistakes. And if you're having trouble airing quarters, guarantee you're making at least one, if not all of those mistakes. I know I made all of them. Again, you're not going fast enough. You're not pumping hard enough. You are not confident, and you might just be riding the wrong quarter. All right. Hopefully this quick video helps you out and, work on what I told you. And we'll see you in the next video. Air them quarters high. Yeah. Outros. Woo! Bike school membership in the description.